Good morning. Welcome back to the prayer porch. This morning, I just need a minute. Give me a minute with God. You're invited. That's what I do. I invite you up to my prayer porch. Lord, I love you. I praise you. I thank you for who you are. I just pray, Lord, that you would be in this day and that you would be in this moment and that you would be high and lifted up and that you would be glorified in all things. Lord, I thank you. I thank you for the birds that I hear singing. I thank you for the breeze that I feel on my shoulders. I thank you for the reassurance of your presence. It tells me, Lori, I'm here. I'm here and I've got you in this day. I pray that you're in every moment of this day. And Lord, I pray that the words that you give us this morning, they are seen through your eyes. And you teach me your ways, that I may walk in your truth in all that I do and say. I love you and I praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. I have an interesting time on the prayer porch. I have a prayer request for you. I leave here and I head to a job interview, so I ask if you would just keep that in prayer. If that's what God has for me, then he would open that door. And if not, that's all right too. Whatever God has right now, we're just lifting it before him. But in that, I was looking at my scriptures today, and the scriptures brought me to a part of the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus' great sermon. Everyone talks about his great sermon, the one that when I was a little kid, I thought, wow, that would have been a long sermon. It takes 3 chapters. And now I look at it a bit differently. But as I look at the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew, those of you, it starts in Matthew, and the sermon starts in chapter 5. And he starts in chapter 5, and he has this almost what sounds like backwards talking, because it's like, blessed are those who, and then he names something that we wouldn't think that would be a type of blessedness, who are poor, for because of their need for them, and the kingdom of heaven is theirs. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are those who are humble, for they will inherit the whole earth. Blessed are those who hunger or thirst for justice, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are those who are pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are those who work for peace, for they will be called the children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for doing what's right, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to them. And it says, God blesses you when people mock you and persecute you and lie about you and all sorts of other evil things against you. Because you are my followers, be happy about it. Be very glad, for a great reward awaits you in heaven. And remember, the ancient prophets were prosecuted in the very same way. Then he goes on and he talks about us being the salt and the light. And then he starts laying out some guidelines. He talks about anger and he talks about adultery and divorce. He goes on and he gives some strong teaching about how strong your word is. And make sure, it says, I like this part because it reminds me, be careful, little mouth, what you say. It says, you have also heard our ancestors are told you must not break your vows. You must carry out the vow you make to the Lord. But I say, don't make any vows. Do not say by heaven or by heaven's sake or by God's throne. Do not say it. Do not even say by the earth, because the earth is his footstool. And do not say by Jerusalem, or by Jerusalem is the city of the great king. Do not even say by my head or cross my heart. How many of us have said that? It tells you don't do it. Because it says you in turn can't turn one hair black or white. Just say a simple, yes I will, or no I won't. One of the things that has happened in this world is that our words have become so frivolous. It's become easy to have kids. No wonder a generation has a hard time understanding what true love is and what's love got to do with this and what is love song and song after it. Because we can say, I love my peas, and you can say, I love my children and my husband. And you use the same word. Words become frivolous. Words become something that we just throw out and not think about what we say. I share again, Pastor West he always tells us, there's power in the tongue. Watch what you speak. Watch what you frivolously say with this tongue without thinking about it, that we just roll it off and not think about what we're saying. I think God would really like E.F. Hutton, because when E.F. Hutton, the commercial that says, when he speaks, people listen, because E.F. Hutton doesn't say much. When he speaks, it's wise. That's what they should say about all Christians. They should say, when a Christian speaks, they've given thought to what they say. They have given an opportunity for people to say well, your words are so, people are hanging on them, but they're hanging on them because they know that you don't just throw off words off the top of your tongue. You don't throw off just blessings and cursings. I have a little thing that I do, and it's probably mean, but if people will say to me, and I know they don't mean it, hey, how's your day? I say, oh, let me tell you, da-da-da. And then all of a sudden they kind of step back like, I really didn't want to know how your day was. I was just using it as then don't ask me. Then don't ask me. If you don't want to know how my day is, don't ask me. I do that a lot because my husband is really funny, because he wants to make a conversation and he'll start it, and if he's kind of stuck with the words, he comes right back to that. Well, how was your day? And I'll say, I already told you twice. I'm not telling you again. You don't have to fill space with words. When I trained as a therapist, probably the hardest part I had, but especially me, because I like to talk. And someone who likes to talk, this is a very strong teaching. Because guarding your tongue is not easy when you're a chatty Susie. But I remember the hardest lesson in counseling was there's strength in silence. Sometimes when you're running a group session, let it be silent. Don't feel like you have to feel that void. Sometimes we want to fill voids and our tongue gets us in trouble. Let your yays be yays and your nays be nays. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. And you don't have to fill a void. And if you ask somebody, ask because you really want to know. How's your day? How are you doing? Ask because you want to know. One of the things about our God is that he's sincere and he's genuine. He is sincere and he is genuine. And that's why taking time with him is important. That when you hear his words, and when you apply his words to your heart, and when you speak his words, you speak them with wisdom, caution, and care. And remember, you are his temple. So every word that comes from this mouth, you are delivering it in his name. Wow. That makes you think twice, doesn't it? Sometimes we say things in jest. My family is one that when we get around, everyone talks at the same time, and in a weird way you hear everybody, and it's just fun. But I didn't realize until I really started focusing on this verse how much we say things, and oh yeah, well, you nerd, you this, you that, just playing, but they're still words. They're words. Sometimes I think Satan has deafened our sensitivity to the power of words, because it's with a word he spoke the world in place. It tells us in John, in the beginning was what? The Word. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Words. Words. Words are powerful. Words can build, and words can tear down. Words can turn somebody's path one way, to the left, or to the right. Words can teach, or words can produce ignorance. Words. Words are powerful. So when he says in Matthew chapter 5 about the importance of a vow, it used to be in culture from the beginning of time, even not so far off from our culture. I remember my dad saying, if you said it, you mean it. He would always say, if I said it, I meant it. Because my dad was one who, when he would speak, he spoke strong, bold words, and people did listen. But my mom would apologize sometimes because he was very honest. Oh, Ed, he didn't mean that. And he said, if I said it, I meant it. That's what ours should be. If we said it, we meant it. But if we mean it, then we need to really think about what's spewing out. I get scared, and sometimes God and I talk here, and I say, Lord, I think I have diarrhea of the mouth, and I need you to be my Pepto-Bismol, because it's flowing out. And after I said it, I thought, why did I say that? Where did that come from? There are times words come, and I don't even know where they came from. And I'm thinking, why would I say that? And once it's out, you can't take it back. You can say, I'm sorry. You can say, but you can't take it back all the way. It's always floating out there. There's one of my favorite books. And I really, honestly, this is wild because I wasn't planning on talking about this morning. That was my intro to get to where I'm trying to get, which apparently God doesn't want me to get there. I think God's telling me to watch my words today. Watch my words. There's a book, and here I am watching my words, because it's written by whole people. It's written by the singer Madonna, who shared it. It wasn't original with her. She wrote it and put it in a book form for her children. And if you get a chance to read it, it's a powerful story. It's called Mr. Peabody's Apples. And Mr. Peabody's Apples say that, in Mr. Peabody's Apples, it's about a young teacher who loves playing in the park in the summer with the boys, and the boys love playing with Mr. Peabody, and learning the game from him. And then they loved it so much they didn't care if they won or lost. They just loved getting together and playing. And when they'd get together and they'd play, we would find out that they left the game, and there was a little boy. He was always little. He ended up being the bat boy because he was little, and his name was Billy Little. And Billy Little just looked up to Mr. Peabody. Well, after the game, Mr. Peabody walked downtown, and everyone knew everybody. It was a small town in Happyville, and they're waving at each other. And they're, oh, yeah, Mr. Peabody, how was the game at the park? And they're all excited. Well, Mr. Peabody walks by Mr. Funkadeli's store, and he picks up an apple. He buffs off the apple and takes a bite out of it and keeps walking. Well, Billy Tillybottom's sitting on the other side of the street and said, I just saw Mr. Peabody steal an apple. So he runs and he tells his friends he couldn't believe that Mr. Peabody would steal an apple. And the next day, same routine. Everyone was excited at the park. Mr. Peabody comes in town, and everyone's saying, hey, Mr. Peabody. Mr. Peabody stops by the market, picks up an apple, brushes it off, bites it, and goes on. So this time, Tommy and his friends, they all saw him. So they all told their parents, who told their parents, who called and said, did you know that Mr. Peabody's the thief? Did you know that he's stealing apples from Mr. Funkadeli's store? Someone needs to go tell Mr. Funkadeli. No one went and asked Mr. Funkadeli. Everybody wanted to talk about it. The next day, Mr. Peabody comes to the park, and nobody's there to play ball. No one but Billy Little. And he says, Billy, why is nobody here? Billy kicks the grass and says, Mr. Peabody, Billy told him you're a thief. What? Tommy told him you're a thief. What? What did I steal? An apple from Mr. Funkadeli. Oh, said Mr. Peabody. Then we probably need to go and talk to Mr. Funkadeli and make this right. So he walks Billy down to Mr. Funkadeli's store, and when he does, he walks in, and Mr. Funkadeli says, why aren't you at the park, Mr. Peabody? And he said, well, no one showed up for the game today. And Mr. Funkadeli says to Mr. Peabody, well, give me a minute, because I didn't put those apples out for you today. I always save those best apples when I know you're coming by, since you pay for them on Monday when you pay for your milk. Billy Little's face drops and says, so you're not a thief. I gotta go tell everybody. I gotta go tell Tommy you're not a thief. So Billy runs to tell Tommy that Mr. Peabody's not a thief. And Mr. Peabody yells after and says, tell Tommy to meet me at the park. Tell him to bring me his pillow. His pillow? All right, I'll do it. Billy runs. Mr. Peabody's waiting at the ballpark, and Tommy shows up with the pillow. When he shows up with his pillow, he's like, "Gee, Mr. Peabody, I'm really sorry. I heard that you weren't stealing apples after all. I'm really sorry that I told people that you stole apples, because it really did look that way. Don't you understand why I said it? Because that's how it looked." Mr. Peabody said, "I forgive you, but I am going to ask one thing of you, Tommy." And he said, "What's that?" And he took him to the top of the bleachers, and he took his feather pillow and he cut it open. And he said, "I want you to shake all these feathers out of this pillow." Tommy says, "I'll do that. I'll do anything you say, Mr. Peabody. I'll do it, because I know I was wrong, and that's a pretty easy thing to do if that's all I have to do for you to forgive me." Mr. Peabody said, "Wait a minute. That's not all. Now I want you to go pick up every single feather. Pick up every single feather," as he watched them blow in the wind. And he said, "Because those feathers represent everyone that heard I'm a thief. And there's no way you'll be able to catch everybody who was affected by the first word that came from your mouth." The book ends. Shows Mr. Peabody throwing ball with two boys in the backyard. And in the window, it's looking out the bedroom window, there's a pillow that's sewn, and an apple sitting by the bed, and a feather blowing in the window. I read it every year to my kids. It's a powerful story, because it talks about how powerful our word is. Ginger posted on here while I'm talking, she said, "It's scientifically proven that our words never leave the atmosphere." They never leave our atmosphere. Wow. I wasn't planning on talking about this today, but maybe I need to read this last verse one more time. It says, "You have heard that your ancestors were told, 'You must not break your vows. You must carry out the vows that you make to the Lord,' which is everything you speak, because what we do unto others, we do to Him. But I say, don't make any vows. Don't promise anything against anything." And he lists all these different things, because he shows how everything ties back to God. I promise by heaven. Don't promise by heaven. That's God's. That's His throne. Don't promise by the earth, because the earth is His footstool. Don't promise by any parts of your body, your heart, your brain, or anything else, because He's the creator of the body. Then it simply ends with, just say a simple yes, I will, or no, I won't. And this next line is powerful. Anything beyond this is from the evil one. Anything that you add to your word is by the evil one. Wow. For someone who talks a lot, that hits home. Makes me really want to think about the power of this tongue. May it be used today for blessing and not cursing. May it be used to build His kingdom. May we think about what we say. And in all things what we say, may He be high and lifted up. And may His train fill this temple and draw us back in alignment with Him, so that He anoints the words that come from our mouth. Because when we start thinking about these words as being His words, we'll say, "Rise up and walk." And you'll be amazed the power in this tongue. He tells us we can do it. We have to trust the word. word. Trust the word. Yahweh. You say his name every time you breathe. And that one I'm saving for tomorrow. I see you tomorrow on the porch. Today, we have a heavy, heavy lesson to carry. We've got to start guarding our tongue. To guard our tongue, we've got to guard our mind. To guard our mind, we've got to guard our heart. By guarding our tongue and our mind and our heart, we guard our testimony. Because anything beyond a yes or a no in his name is from the evil one. Don't let him in. Don't give him that door. Till tomorrow, I give you this word, and I hope it's an encouraging word. I love you in my Lord and Savior. May he be high and lifted up and be glorified in this day. Have a blessed day. Enjoy. Think on his word, because your thoughts will be what comes out of your mouth. Have a good day.